I just want to do something that I'm going to commit to.
I'm so compelled to share, to pull other people out of their situation.
And I'm giving hope to women just like me who, probably felt unseen or probably...
It's just about finding what you love and what you're passionate about.
Do what you love. Do what you love.
And I really realized that this is what happens once you let go. You just create all that space,
It's about helping each other. It's about growing with each other. It's about being true to self.
To whom much is given, much is required.
You only ever have one obstacle, and that's yourself.
The Commit to Change. Change your life. Change your future.
Hey, and welcome to the Commit to Change, otherwise known as C2C podcast, that gives a voice to the people who may be considered a small fry in their industry, but are doing big things in their communities. This is Miss Nikki, the Jane of all trades, but the master at living. I am committed to introducing local VIPs, which are vivaciously inspiring people to encourage you on your daily journey, as well as let you know what is possibly happening to you in your area. So today we have a guest coming into, actually, where are you coming into, Miss Diana Lopez? Where are you calling us from?
Hi. I am right now in Tijuana. Like normally I'm 80% of the year around the world, but today I'm here.
All right, Tijuana, yeah. Awesome. Well, let me tell you about who she is instead of me talking about the party life of Tijuana. I've never been there to Tijuana, but I've only heard the stories of that. It's a place to go for tourists. Is that wrong or right? Like, am I right?
I can get
either?
into that in a moment.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me tell you about her. Diana is a business coach. She's a podcast host, an entrepreneur, a public speaker, and a coffee enthusiast. She is the host of the Fent Show and the Fent Podcast. And both podcasts, one in English and one in Spanish, are meant to promote diverse female entrepreneurs around the globe. She created the space to elevate women's voices. Now, before opening her marketing agency, Yellom LLC, she co-founded a SaaS, software as a service, product company. Her background includes heading sales and marketing teams, copywriting, and automating every aspect of a company. Man, I need to hire you.
Yes, please. And thank you.
You're welcome. When she's not working, she loves playing with her puppies, which you have to introduce us to them, traveling, reading, or listening to other podcasts with a cup of Joe in her hand. Welcome to the C2C family, Miss Diana Lopez.
Yay, Miss Nikki. I am thrilled to be here. And I do have a cup of Joe, although today it's cold brew because it's so hot.
Awesome. So I'm turning the mic to you now. Please tell us a little bit more about you. What makes you you? Let us introduce us to Miss Lopez, please.
Yes. Like I said, well, thank you so much for having me here. I want to start with a fun fact about Tijuana, since we got onto that note at the beginning. But did you know that here is where Caesar salad was invented? Did you?
No, I didn't.
Yes. Woo, learned something today. Yeah, it was invented here, and we actually have, it is named after the hotel where it was created. It's called Hotel Caesars. No. And then that's where it was created. That's why it's named that.
What? See? I didn't even know there was a Hotel Caesars up there. I've never got a chance to go. Like I said, I heard it was fun.
And they just it's like all new now, like the building, not the whole building, but just the restaurant. They restored it, and they make the dressing from scratch in front of you. And it's an amazing experience while they tell you like the story, where you're looking at the pictures and having local wine from Valle de Guadalupe. So an amazing experience. So when the pandemic is over, you're welcome to try the original Caesar salad.
Oh, I may hold you to that. I've lived by the border, but I've never gone over. Yeah, I don't know why, but I just never gone. So I don't know how far into Mexico it is.
Oh, it's very close. I mean, if you're crossing from San Diego, it's like a 15 or 20-minute drive to go to the restaurant, because we're just so close together. You can, we're sister cities, but you can like see each other. We're just very close.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, now the problem is San Diego is far from me. But that's okay. I would love to visit one day. I would love to try it.
Oh, yes. It's amazing. It's amazing. I am obsessed. And one of my favorite restaurants, definitely in Tijuana, although it's like the place to eat. Obviously, the best tacos and the best that one salad. The only healthy thing that is good. Yeah, but so I am an entrepreneur, and I have a marketing agency called Yellom. That's why I'm wearing this yellow dress. It's a dress, if nobody can tell, but it's a dress. And yeah, I'm living in Tijuana. I normally travel 80% of the time for the last 4 years, when I actually started to live what I would call like my best life.
Okay. Tell us more about that. You can't leave us hanging.
Well, I decided, it was all because of one book. So I was 31 at the time. Now I'm 35. And I was reading You Are a Badass from Jen Sincero.
Yes!
Yeah. And it's also a yellow book.
Yeah. Oh, really? She motivates a lot of people, let me tell you. Yes.
Yes.
I just finished You're a Badass in Money.
Oh, yes, of course. It's basically my two Bibles. And she is also writing one that's coming out, I think, the end of this year. Yes, I'm a fan. So it's like You're a Badass as the first one, and then You're a Badass at Making Money. And now there's another one, You're a Badass Every Day. So that was like, it's just like a reminder thing. So the audiobook for that one is amazing.
Yes.
Because you can just like, you keep listening all the time. When I need a boost, I listen to that. But there's another one coming out the end of this year. So I'm super excited. I think I already pre-ordered. I don't know. Anyway, so I was reading that book, and I realized that I was 31. You know, when you hit it, it didn't happen for me at 30. It was like at 31. That's when I was like, I read through my bucket list. So I was writing it again, and I realized that I was already 30, and I still was having these feelings of, I'm not ready yet. I'm not this, all these things which are silly because I was already 30. And I was like, I have all these already, the experience. I have, sold thousands of dollars and this and that for companies through webinars. Nobody taught me. I like self-taught myself to do that. And I realized that I was already there. It was just like my mindset, So and then I realized also that I was walking a career path, but also a life path. So both, like when it comes to deciding where you live or how you live your life or how do you manage your money, I was living everybody else's. So my partner at the moment and my family and my coworkers, it was just living like through everybody's expectations and not mine. And that's when I realized why haven't I gone for my goals? Where is what Diana wants? Where is that? So I just stopped. And once I made that decision, it was like it's been serendipitous since then. So everything has been just flowing, obviously with its very big obstacles, but now I ask for what I want. I try to be more assertive. But yeah, that really, it's all a decision, right? You just have to sit and really decide, and then you after that you really take action. So
yeah. So tell us about your podcast and Yellom. Like, give us a little insight on that. Yeah.
Yes. So I would say mostly that I'm a writer and I'm a connector. So I love writing. I do love to do copywriting in English and in Spanish. I'm very strict about, grammar, and I'm a nerd. Ooh, I'm a big nerd. And I'm also very, very creative. So I love to do creative photography for products and services. And that's what we offer at Yellom. So we just shine a light on your brand. And on the other side, through Yellom, I create the podcast. So I am very, very, very close to my heart. I believe in financial independence is the key to women moving forward, because it gives you confidence. Yes. And I've lived through that a lot. That's like a different story, but it is the way to empower women, through education, but also to be financially free, because that's how women can leave. That's when you actually have the courage to leave a bad relationship, a toxic marriage, or, leave your family. If it's also, there's, you're having a tough time there as well, or even like toxic roomies, you don't know, but you need that financial independence, because otherwise you feel trapped. We already have a lot of things, women are minds, but that's like the biggest thing. And you will hear story after story of strong women. When they become financially independent, the confidence that they have and the freedom that they have, that just changes their lives. So I elevate women's voices through the podcast. I saw that there wasn't really women, stories of women being told in business. So I'm interested in like elevate them, because when you see yourself represented as a woman, and also if it's a minority, oh my God, even more so. And even for me, it was like, I don't see any women being interviewed, and all these podcasts, just white men, like bro helping each other. And it was like, okay, of 100 episodes, there's only like 5 women, and I needed to hear that. And when I heard a woman, being successful, that's when I was inspired. And I was like, I don't see any other, women. So I decided to create my own. And so I created 2, leveraging that I'm bilingual. I have the English one and the Spanish one, because there's also none in Spanish. I was like, I need to hear my girls, so I created this platform to elevate both. It doesn't, and if somebody's bilingual, then amazing. I have them on both shows. And it's just amazing, because I get to meet amazing ladies like yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, that's exciting. And I envy you, because I wish that I was fluent enough in the other languages so that way I could do the same thing, because that's something, to be able to speak in the person's language, it creates a different type of bond. So my original language, believe it or not, is Spanish, but I can't speak a lick of it. It's horrible. But I can dance. I speak body language.
Yes, I was gonna say. That's actually a natural language.
Yes. And then I lived in Germany for a little bit, like a couple of years, and I spoke just enough to get by, but not enough to do a podcast, which I wish I could. I'm like, can somebody just be my voice? Like, or like have subtitles on the bottom or something like that. But that's so great, because then you get a chance. Now you have reach out there in both parties. And I think that's great, especially for Latina women, like to really show up in the space for us, because there aren't that many. You will see, like you said, that there's the men being shown. They're always the guests on the podcast. There are a few women out there, and there are some women podcasters, but I haven't seen, and it doesn't mean they don't exist, but I haven't seen, like you said, the minority. I think now they're getting highlighted, and it's a long time coming. So thank you for being a part of that and making your mark here in the world and in the podcasting space and just in the entrepreneur space. So I'm curious as to what really inspired you to commit your life to doing that. Like what, besides saying, okay, I know what you said brought you to doing the podcast, but what inspired you to create Yellom, like to just get into the entrepreneurial space?
Well, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, I would say that I come from an entrepreneurial family. So we come from a very, very, very humble background. But my family, both my parents, and it's just my parents. And I saw that, of like 7 siblings, my parents, were the only ones that like really went, like it's been going well for them, and they risked so many things, and they believed in themselves, even though like having a family, that's like so risky. I'm like, guys, you had kids, but they and it's not been an easy journey, but I learned to take risks. But what I really would say also is that I am blessed because they had a different journey. They when it comes to your parents, and more so immigrant parents, because I grew up in Tijuana all my life, and then they moved to San Diego when I was like already 20. I was already an adult. I was like, see you guys, and then I moved to San Diego when I was 25. So I was already married. I was already like a grown woman. And that's where I polished my English a little bit, but I've been bilingual since like 5 years old. But for them, they had to just, just like put food on the table. And for me, I would say that our generation, I'm blessed because I was able to sit and say, now I want to live in purpose. Mm. So I feel blessed to really think about like what I like to do. So I studied marketing when I, in college, and I've always wanted to have my own marketing agency. So, I'm very, very creative. And so I just followed what I wanted. And then podcasts came into my life when I was already older, like 27. And it took me a long time to actually do it and to believe in myself, because I went through so many courses, I swear, webinars, courses, and until I was like, I'm done. I need to just do this,
Yes.
And I finally did it after like 4 years of like the first time that I wrote the name. Some people do it in like a month. They're like, oh, I thought about it now, and then I did it. And I was like, oh my God, it took me 4 years. And now I don't ever want to do that to myself again. If I want to do something, I try to just, fail fast and fail quickly, as they say, because I am getting younger. So just to follow my dreams.
Yes. And to be and it takes a lot. Like, people don't realize, like, being an entrepreneur, everybody was like, I want to be a boss, but it is a risk. There's risk involved, and it takes a lot of fortitude, and it's there's a lot that comes with being an entrepreneur and what you have to do, because now you become everything that your boss is, and then some. Your boss has other departments that help lift them and kind of keep the company running. But then when you become the boss, it's just you, and you're starting from scratch. So tell me, like, what obstacles have you, like, what was your biggest obstacle once you made that decision that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to put my energy. I'm going to show up in the world. And how did you overcome it?
This is a very difficult question, because I think that my mindset was the obstacle. I don't think it was, when you really think about it, it was like, what was really holding me back? It wasn't money, because I didn't have any savings when I made the choice. I didn't have savings. I was married at the time, and that's a different story when it comes to financial situations. But once I got divorced, I was like, now I have money. This is my money. I'm managing my money. So now, and that gave me a lot of power, and even though I did work for like the first year, then I decided I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to open my business. So I don't know. I wouldn't say it was not my partner's issue, but the money thing was an issue in that part, I wasn't managing my money. I was allowing my partner, because that was also my fault. I allowed my partner to manage my finances, and that was a mistake. But when I made the choice, I started to make a bunch of little steps. So I think it was, because in reality, it was just excuses as well. You can also get a loan from a business. You can also ask for family and friends, and you can or apply for grants. But there's just excuses when you say, I didn't have money, I didn't have time, I didn't have this, and no. So it was just to actually really make the decision and then don't stop, just being persistent.
Yes.
I've had obstacles lately. So now I have illness. I've been with illnesses since May of 2019, and I don't want to get into detail, but I would say that now I also value a different thing. If you don't have health, you don't have anything, because it doesn't matter that now I have the energy or the community or I have this, because if you don't have health, nothing matters. It doesn't matter if you're also like, a trillionaire. It's just, so that's the first thing now for me is, first of all, it's mental health, then health, because it does, you also need to be like in your mind peace.
Right.
And mental health, and then, like actually your business or, yourself. But
that just sounds like the Self-Lift Network. That's what I teach. How to find balance between health, wealth, and self.
Yes.
That's everything that you just said. Well, I'm sending prayers to you, that what is going on with you, that it subsides and we find healing in that. But I have to ask, like, we talked about, being an entrepreneur is a risk, and obstacles, and financial is like a big one. Who would you say has been your biggest supporter through your transition and into entrepreneurship and in your vision? Who has been your biggest supporter?
I just found my tribe. I found my tribe through traveling the world. But at first, I would say that it was me. It was really tough because when I was going through divorce, a lot of people would tell me like, you hear all of these weird phrases of like, why don't you give this another try? Or why don't you, and I was like, wait a second, aren't you on my team? And then, I would say like, oh, I'm going to, travel the world. I'm going to open my business. I'm going to be like a remote traveler, like, being like a digital nomad whilst I grow my business. And people would say, no, stay, or why would you leave a comfortable job? Because I had an amazing offer from the city of San Diego to be like in the marketing department. And I said, no, thank you. I'm going to Colombia. Bye. And people would say, you take the job and then you'll travel, a year later. And I was like, no, I'm young right now.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
Okay. I can take a steady city job in a cubicle when I'm like 50, if everything goes to trash. But I'm young right now. And thank God I did that, because if not, imagine, you're basically in a job where you're never going to get fired. But that is so comfortable. It sounded so dangerous. I was like, I'd rather live the risky, adventurous life. And when I was traveling, I found my tribe.
Wow.
I was like, I remember I was in Colombia with like these like 25 digital nomads, and I sat down and we were all talking like from different parts of the world. And in a sense, a new friend of mine at the moment, we like looked at each other. We were like we found our people. And yeah, I've been with my tribe since then, and I am.
Wow. So by any chance, do you know Hannah Dixon? She's a part. She also does like the digital nomad community. I was just wondering maybe if you were also part of that, because I would have been like, oh my God, that's another unit that we're connecting. No, okay, no, never mind.
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. So it boggles my mind how people are so stuck on that false security blanket of the 9 to 5. And they miss out on life, but then they don't want other people to live. So they will deter people. No, like, don't put your fears on me. Like, I know where my life, like, I feel like I know where my life is supposed to go. So I'm going to go my path. You have your path. This is my path, my direction. Let me find out if this is not, or if this is for me, if this is not for me. But your fears will keep you where you are, and be there. But this is my journey. So I'm glad that you decided to venture out. I remember when this was actually the year of September 11th, which is today, but the event that happened on September 11th, 2001, and I had like the same thing. I moved out across the U.S. To live in a new state with just me and my son, because at the time I was a single parent. And everybody was like, why would you want to move out there? You don't have the support system. Why would you want to go there? And I said, well, I feel like I'm supposed to leave. Like, I need to move. I remember where I was living. I was starting to get really angry, and I was like, I need something different. And everything in me was pointing me there. And I'm a person that flows. What God brings, and if it flows, that means that's where I'm supposed to go. And so I went with the flow. And I have to tell you, like, it ended up being one of the best things I could have done, because it forced me to also be more of a mom. And because I had so much support, it was like, I could just lay back, and you know what I mean? And it was like, I don't know, it challenged me, you know what I mean? And made me stand in my position. And, I come from a Latina family too. So like my mom and my aunt, they were always like, oh, my son, with little gold things and all that. He was just a little papachulo walking around. And it's like, let me go on the other side. So let me be mom. And I grew up a lot too, because I had him young. I had him when I was 20. And so I got to grow up too, because I was still being a baby, like, Ma, can you like make me tea? I don't feel good. And it was like, and it's like, there's my son on my hip, and I'm like, oh, mommy, So it's like, okay, I had to force myself to grow up. So it was the best thing I could have done. And that kind of just sparked many moves after that, because I lived many other places after that. But I'm so glad that you were able to take yourself out of, that box and go out there and be an example to the world and an example to the community. So that's actually leading into my next question. How do you feel that you're adding to the community?
Well, I feel that I'm adding through the podcast when it comes to giving a voice to women's stories, and more so in Spanish, because there's barely any, podcasting in Spanish is still in diapers. Mm-hmm. So there's not many out there. And I believe that this, giving a platform is important, but I am very ambitious. And I also am looking to start an event this year. Hopefully I can do it this year. But I want to do what is called, so my brand is Fent, which stands for Female Entrepreneurs. And it's going to be, so much bigger. So I am coming soon. I will have a Fent Fest. Nice. And that will be, a virtual summit where there's going to be a pitch competition. Because aside of being, inspiring women through the podcast, I want to do something bigger. So I want to have, I want to give grants, because women need money to start their businesses. Even like $500, $1,000, it goes a long way, when they need to buy inventory or start their first website or, whatever their business is. Everybody needs maybe to pay the taxes or, I don't know. So I'm excited to do that. And that I decided on my purpose, but I want to create more impact.
Yes.
And that is what really gets me up every morning. Besides my coffee, I'm like, my well,
Well, I think that's a great idea. So please keep us informed so that way we can let the audience know, hey, what's going on and so that they can be a part of that. So definitely keep us informed.
To participate,
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
And then it's so amazing to have like the pitches, you know?
Yes.
Have people pitching, and that could be so exciting.
Yes. Oh, perfect. So, okay. So my question to you, because we talked about people telling you, don't do this, don't do that. What would your advice be to someone who is they're sitting on the fence of the field of their dreams? They want to take that step to say, I want to go travel, I want to do this, or I want to start this company. What would you say to someone who has had a hard time making that decision to go either way?
I would have something kind of long to say, and yes, call me if you're doubting yourself. But first of all, I would say to love yourself first. That's the first thing. Before you do anything else, really sink into that. What does that mean? You know, because self-care, that also means saving money, being true to your dreams, living, because I live now right now, my phrase is, I live for my bucket list. That's how I live. I swear.
I love it.
But also I would say, love yourself first, but also live in purpose. You have to find your purpose and live in purpose. It doesn't matter if you have a 9-to-5, but also find your purpose in a way. You'll do it on the weekends volunteering. Maybe you mentor an entrepreneur. Everybody has a different way to impact the world, and you don't have to necessarily be an entrepreneur 100%. Maybe it's just your side job, or you're just starting your side hustle. But just live in purpose. And when you find that, because don't chase the money, chase what really drives you. So that's what
Okay, thank you. All right, it's time for the lightning round. So my first question to you is, what initially held you back from making your commitment to change, if anything held you back?
I really would say again that it was my mindset, but also I was trying to just, how do you say that? Like, filled everybody's expectations. But that was it was my doing. They weren't making me do it physically, with a knife to my throat. It was just, I was allowing that. And I would say that it's just a little switch that you have to change in your brain.
Yes, absolutely. So what is the best advice you have ever received?
I would say the fail fast one. Fail fast, fail quickly, and just try things now. The time is now. So, sometimes you get too comfortable to be like, oh, I'll do it later, I'll do it next year. No, it's just.
Yeah, because they think that there's ever a right moment, the whole prep, just like people when they try to plan for having kids, like, you're never prepared for what a child brings. So no matter how much you prepare, you're still never ready. Okay, so share a personal habit that contributes to your success.
Coffee? No. So drinking so much coffee. No, I would say my morning routine. I've been getting into my, I'm creating my magic morning. And when I don't do that, it's like, but every single time I do it, it's an amazing day.
It's gold. It gets you started right, because when you don't have a routine and it doesn't get the flow, it doesn't get your day started right, and you can feel off. Because I know when I've gone off, because I normally will do like the 5 a.m. club thing where you wake up and then have the meditation and you do like a little exercise and then you go on your day. Anytime that I decide to sleep in, or I'm like, oh, I'm going to skip all that, my day just really goes totally different. I don't know if you've ever done that where you decided like, I'm going to do something different this morning and your day just doesn't flow right.
Yeah. I realized that it's like exercise, and I actually include exercise. Like the first thing I do is either, depending on how hungry I am, either, have breakfast or walk on the treadmill. But I realized that every time I do my morning routine or every time I exercise, I never regret it. But every time I don't do it, I always regret it. But every time that I do it, I'm like, So I just don't want to have any regrets.
Yes, no regrets. Because that's like one of the worst things when people just have regret.
Yeah.
Oh.
I scroll on Instagram for 30 minutes and then I realize I could have walked on my treadmill for 30 minutes and
yeah, the black hole of Instagram and Facebook. Oh man, it's horrible, especially for an entrepreneur. Like, unless you set time aside for doing that so you can interact with like-minded people, like you can get lost in that, and then your whole production for the day is just thrown. So yeah, it's so evil, but it's so good.
Yes. It's so good.
So what book would you recommend? I know you mentioned one already, and I don't know if you're going to recommend the same one, but what book would you recommend to the C2C audience and why?
Good point, because I wasn't thinking of mentioning that book, but now that I did, I have a new favorite one. You guys, How to Be a Boss. And this is Boss, BAWSE. Different words, so now my favorite.
Yes.
By Lily Singh. I don't know how to pronounce
yes.
it, but Lily.
Yes.
My favorite entrepreneur. She is hilarious and a boss.
Yes.
So get that book.
She is on my list of books. So now that I have someone who seconded that I should read it, then I'm definitely going to put it next on my audiobook listening chart.
Yes. She's so funny as well.
Awesome. Okay, so here's the big, deep question. If you found out that you had 1 hour left to live and you were given the opportunity to share one final message, what would it be?
I would say it took me a while to get to this point, but now I don't have regrets. So lived in a way that you won't have regrets. And I lived for my bucket list.
Yes, I love that. Like, just living for your bucket list is key. Live without regret, and live for your bucket list. I love it. So Diana, please tell our audience where they can find more about you, where they can find what's going on with you, keep up with you. Tell them where to find you.
Find me. So yeah, my Instagram is literally, it's Diana Lopez. So ITS Diana Lopez. So, because there's so many as my name, but there's only one me. Okay, one me. And my that's my Instagram. And for my website is Fent Media. So FENT media.co, also .com. That one's in Spanish. So it's fine if you do .co or .com. And yeah, so Fent Show and Instagram is, Fent Show, super easy. And yeah, there's all my socials. Find me, tag me.
All right, well, that's a wrap. We want to thank you so much, Diana, for being a VIP guest on the C2C podcast. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. We hope that you feel inspired to keep moving forward towards your goals and stick with or make a commitment to change your life. And please make sure to check out all the links provided by our guests and share today's podcast and information with anyone that you feel may benefit from it. And remember, in order to get to the top of the steps, you have to take the first step. But don't step on anyone on the way, because you just might trip. This is Miss Nikki. Till next time. Bye.
To the commit to change your life, change your